I am Eyram Amu. I have 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. And for now, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm fully home taking care of the kids. For me, I missed my period for that particular month. If I can clearly remember, I think it was in October. So I missed it and I decided to go and take the test. So I bought the pregnancy kits and I tested and I realized that, yeah, wow, I was pregnant. My period is usually consistent. I don't miss it. Yeah, so when I missed it for that particular month, I knew that I was pregnant. The pampering. I had a lot of pampering from my husband, and I pampered myself too because I felt that I was bringing someone else into this world. And as I said earlier, it was a privilege. So hey, I'm just pampering myself, feeling good about all this. I was always hungry. I was always hungry every time I needed to eat something. And that was a bit difficult because even if you're at work and you're hungry, you have to take some time off to go and get something to eat, and it was quite difficult. I also had sleepless nights. During the day, I was usually okay, healthy, fine, agile, I was all over the place. But in the nights, I just couldn't sleep. Throughout the nights, I wouldn't sleep. The baby would be moving about and I wouldn't sleep. So in the nights, I just walk around or pray or read a book till morning. So throughout the night, I wouldn't sleep. So when it's morning, then you find me dozing off. I just wanted to sleep during the day. So I just became a nocturnal human being. Okay, the first one was quite exciting. I was at work. I was doing the normal work, and then I felt that no, there's this heaviness around my lower abdomen. And initially I've been reading a lot, so magazines and all that on pregnancy. So I knew that there were false contractions. So when I experienced this one, they were quite short. Quite short. So, but this time around, it was severe. The contractions were severe. So when I felt the heaviness, I decided to take a walk. And I didn't want that feeling of going to the hospital and I was told it was a false one. So I wanted to be certain. So I took some time off from my seat at work and I took a walk, about 15 minutes walk. And when I was taking the walk, I just felt that this was different. This was just different from the usual contractions. This one was very heavy, and down below, it was very, very heavy. Now walking became difficult. Then I felt that no, this was the time. Labor is painful. You can never get used to labor pains. For the first one, it was much more painful, probably because it was the first time. I was screaming all over the place. I held the bed. I actually broke the rail of the bed. I was screaming and I was asking for epidural. I learned epidural was less painful because you'd be injected and you didn't feel the pain. So at that moment, I was calling for epidural. I was just calling for anything that would ease the pain. This pain is so different. It's so painful. Like, it's painful. There's nothing you can really do to bring the pain down. And the second one too, it's not even the third. I was expecting because it was a third born, it will be less painful. But trust me, I don't think I've gotten used to that pain. And I want to believe that if I get the chance to have another baby, it will still be painful. I cried. I was excited, but I cried. I cried because it's been quite a journey. It's been a beautiful journey. Painful, difficult. So it was tears of joy for me, especially because when he came out, he wasn't crying. I read that when babies come out, they cry. But this time around, he wasn't crying. So I was crying, happily seeing him, at the same time crying that, hey, my baby wasn't crying. Is he alive? So it was tears of joy. And I was singing praises on the bed, because he was not brought to me immediately, because they were trying to resuscitate him. And so for the first time, I was actually crying at the same time singing praises to God. And the midwife was like, wow, you're quite brave, because for some, they actually freak out. But I was relaxed, but I was crying. Yeah, I was crying. Whilst watching them trying to resuscitate him, my husband was there at the moment. And at that point, the gas, there was a gas that you were supposed to use with a cord, if I'm using the words right, for them to use to resuscitate him. And they tried everything. This baby wasn't crying. So my husband came in and decided to look at it, and he realized that no, there was a cut between the cords. So that was where I think I was like, no, this is where my God is alive. My baby is not going to die. So he came in and asked for sellotape. So they wrapped around the torn portion, and then the gas came through, and that was when he started crying. I was like, yeah, he needed to be here. My God brought him here for this to happen. The second one, I was more relaxed because I've gone through the experience before. So for her, I was at home. I knew that the first time they had told me this particular date, but I still went to work anyway. So the second one, when I was told about this date, I took about a week off work. So I was home and I felt this heaviness. Then I told my husband, hey, I think it's time, so we need to get to the hospital. So we got there, and then the nurse saw me and she was like, you're in labor. I was like, yes, I am in labor. But I wasn't all over the place. I wasn't crying. So when I was laid on the bed and I started feeling the pain, it was quite painful, I must admit. And the nurse was like, hey, you've been through this before. Let's get this going. I know you're a strong woman. So I relaxed, and then, though I was screaming, I went in there, and then within just about 30 minutes, I had popped out. I was happy knowing that it was a girl too, because I'd actually prayed for a girl. The first boy, the second being a girl, I was excited. Yes, I was excited. And the third one being a boy also. For him, by then I had left work to come home and take care of the kids. So I was actually manning a shop, and then I felt the pain. Then, okay, so this was the time. So I went back home to take a shower. And there I actually called my brother-in-law, who was home. And he was like, let's get going. I was like, no, I've had this feeling before, so let me just go wash down and get ready for this. So I went home, I washed down, and when we got to the hospital, just when we opened the door, then the water broke. So he held my hand, and I went in there, and they were like, oh, you're not ready. It's just one of those things, you're not ready. I was like, no, I've felt this before, and I think in no time, I'm going to have my baby. The nurse was like, okay, let me check. And that is another painful aspect when they want to check whether you dilated or not. Oh my God. I don't know if there's another way around it, but I think they should find, it's too painful when they want to check whether you're fully dilated. So she came checking, and I was screaming. She was like, hey, this is your third one. Why are you screaming? I was like, I can never get used to this pain. Okay, so after she checked, she was like, oh, you're not ready. So my husband was there. He was like, oh, go home. She's not going to have the baby now. So I went to the washroom. I felt that I wanted to wee-wee. I went to the washroom, and then when I sat down, I was going to wee-wee. Then I felt like I wanted to poo-poo this time around. But it was so strong. And I had read before, people had mentioned that the poo-poo and the baby came out in the pot. I was like, this wasn't going to be my experience. So the moment I felt I was going to poo-poo, I just got up and I told the nurse that I think I want to have my baby. But by then they were not ready for me, because they felt that I wasn't going to have my baby. I wasn't fully dilated. I wasn't going to have my baby. So they were not ready. They had not packed my things, nothing. They were just there. So I screamed out and I told them, hey, I'm going to have a baby. So I walked to my bed, and then she was like, lie down and let me check. I was like, no. This time around, you're not going to check whether I've dilated or not. I know I'm going to have a baby, and it's going to be now. And truly, to the moment I lay down, the baby's head was actually coming out. So they rushed me to the theater, and then poof, the baby was out. So the nurses, they were not ready for me. So the water came out, and then it splashed on the nurses' faces and all that, because they were not ready, because they thought I wasn't going to, have it at the moment. So when they were done, his was faster, like it just popped out like that. And I called my husband. I was like, hey, I've put to bed. He was like, how? It's just less than 15 minutes I left them. I'm not even home yet. So how come you've put to bed? I was like, yeah, I've put to bed. So he says, take a picture. And I took a picture of the baby. I was like, no, that is someone's baby. That is not your baby because I just left here. So now I had to take a picture of myself and send it to him. He was like, oh no, I missed it. Yeah, a lot. And one is sleep. You lose sleep the moment you have children. One is enough, let alone three. And you end up becoming like a zombie, like you're always sleepwalking because you never have enough sleep. And for me, the first one especially was so attached to me such that the moment he's sleeping, like I put him down and I get up from the bed, he's awake. He wants to feel that I'm around. So all the time I was around him. I barely had enough sleep. The second was better. She was more calm when I had her. For the first 1 year, she was calm. She would sleep wherever you put her. Yeah, she sleeps. But the first one wasn't. So all the time I was awake. The third was also another. So I want to believe that probably the boys were not sleeping at all. So all the time I was awake. And they say when the babies are sleeping, you also sleep. It doesn't work. Well, I don't know about this, but it never worked for me. When the babies sleep, you realize that you have a lot to do. You have a lot of washing to do. You have to clean around because they've messed the whole place up. And because I don't have enough sleep and I always feel sleepy, it is when they sleep that I need to work. And when they are awake, that's when I'm feeling sleepy. And because they're awake and you can't sleep, around the clock, you barely have sleep. So you realize that you sleep off. And then within 5 minutes, you're up. So you never have enough sleep. And that was one. And when it comes to eating also, this time around, you can't enjoy your meals by yourself. And anytime you're preparing the meals, you need to have them in mind. So you can't have enough of pepper, you can't have enough of salt, sugar, and all those things. So you end up losing yourself for the children, yes. And even your clothing, at a point it changes. Because you're breastfeeding, you need to wear clothes that are very comfortable and easy for you to have easy access to breastfeed. It has. In as much as I still look good, probably in shape, as I hear all the time, it has. I still have a lot of the flaps around where I don't want them to be. My tummy is bulging, but for me, it's part of being a mother. It's a beauty to be a mother. It's a beautiful feeling to be a mother. Hitherto, I was single and I had it all going, but now another human being, and God willing, 3 of them are out. I don't actually expect to be the same. I think it's too much of low self-esteem and being too hard on yourself when you feel that you have to necessarily go back to where you were or the size you were before you had your kids. I think it's unfair even to yourself. So one day I was in the kitchen preparing dishes and then I wanted to pee. So I just dashed out quickly to the washroom, and then just within a split second, when I came back, this boy was in the bucket of water, practically drowning. And then I just screamed out. I was like, oh my God. Because it was just in a split second, just at the spur of the moment, and then this was going to happen. What was I going to say? What explanation was I going to give? It just happened, and then I was just scared to the bone. So I just took him out and just, tried resuscitating him, and then he started, coughing, and then I was just like, thank you, Lord. It was scary. What surprised me was that I have small breasts. So in trying to pump, I was like, I don't think I was going to get enough for him. But I was surprised. I had about 3 bottles of the 125 ml, and when I had it, I was like, oh my God, with this small breast, how come I had enough milk for him? And that was quite surprising for me. But what helped also was that I was encouraged to drink a lot of ice kenke, and I did that. I ate a lot of banku and palm nut soup, and then Tom Brown. Homemade Tom Brown. I took that also. So that helped me, and I had enough breast milk for them. It's quite a lot. And it's every day. It's every day because there are many and they play a lot. And I'm quite liberal when it comes to my kids playing, because I have the notion that there are a lot of grown-ups out there who didn't get the opportunity to play. So now that they're adults, they're actually behaving like children. So for me, I'm quite liberal with my children playing. I give them the room to play and explore and to discover who they are. So they mess up a lot. They mess themselves up a lot. They mess the house up a lot. So you get to do a lot of washing. People think that when you are home, and they refer to it as housewife, I'm here to say that no, when you're home, there's nothing like a housewife and you have nothing doing. Actually, when I was at work, I think it was easier because when I step out of the house, the kids they were with my mom. So when I'm out there, I still do what I do. I work, I meet people, I meet clients, I go out for dinners. I still had my life. But the moment I made that decision to come home and stay with them, I realized that the work was more difficult than I anticipated. Being with them, you are their mom, you are their physician, you are their counselor, you are their teacher and everything. You are their cleaner, you are their house help. So you are in a particular space. You're just in the four walls of the house every time, or most of the time. So all the time you have work to do. And when children know that they're in their safe haven in the house, they mess up a lot as compared to when they go out to school or even when they are with someone else. So you end up doing a lot of cooking because you want variety for them as well. You don't want to do one way all the time. I also enjoy variety, so I keep cooking, I keep cleaning, I keep doing the laundry. Every time I realize that I have something doing. So this notion of when you are at work, it's difficult combining with the kids, the home and all that. Yes, it is difficult, but it's not easier when you are home. Per my experience, it's actually more difficult staying home, spending time with the children, because you're investing all of yourself in them anyway. Yes, a lot. A lot. I sit back and I'm like, wow, I didn't know I could do this. I'm actually a carefree person. I'm a sanguine. I like to step out there, have fun, meet people and all that. So when these kids came into my life and everything around me has changed, as I mentioned earlier, I need to be everything for them. Their mother, their father, their teacher, their physician and everything. And then at the end of the day, I still see them and they are doing well, they are looking good and all that. For me, it's been amazing. Because when they are sick, you're with them. One can be sick, the next day the other. So all the time you're running around trying to get them healthy. You're trying to get their meals ready. At a point, one was at the hospital, one was home, and I had to juggle. I didn't know I had that strength. I think throughout is challenging, throughout. But most challenging is where you feel that you're doing the right thing for these kids. In terms of disciplining them, in terms of exposing them even to the right contents when it comes to what they watch or what they read. And then hoping that they come out right. For me, that is a bit challenging because there are people out there who didn't come out right. And I want mine to come out right. So I find myself going all out, reading. I love to read actually. So anything I can read to ensure that I can instill positive, anything positive in these kids, I do. So for me, that is a bit challenging. For me, the mere fact that I've been able to bring another life, another human being into this world alone is rewarding for me. That alone, I've always seen it as a privilege. And watching them grow is such a wonder. It makes me feel that all that I'm doing for them is not in vain. academically, they are doing well spiritually. I find these kids praying, and I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. And another beautiful one is after you discipline them, especially when they've done something wrong, you either smack them or you spank them or you use the cane on them. Even when they're done crying, they still run back to you. That feeling alone is beautiful, you know, because I feel like after I've disciplined you, whilst I'm disciplining you, you don't want to even, you know, come close to me again. But even whilst they're at it, they still come to you. It makes me feel that I'm a mini God to them. I'm God to them, because even the Creator up there, when we sin, He forgives us, and we are still able to go back to Him. And that is how I feel when they relate with me in that manner, especially when it comes to discipline. I don't necessarily want anything from them, but watching them grow from stage to stage alone, I'm happy. I always have that one moment, especially when they go to bed and they're sleeping. I just look at them quietly, and I feel fulfilled already. Watching all three lying down, sleeping, I just sigh heavily and I smile. It's beautiful.